Okay, guys, thank you very much for joining today. Good morning, good afternoon, everybody. We appreciate you connecting with us today so we can talk to you about our AutoTask migration partner review. My name is Bill Thompson, and I'm the EVP of Operations for Highwire Networks within our Overwatch division. And I'll tell you what, we're really excited today to walk you through our upcoming migration to AutoTask. In a few moments, I'm going to turn the call over to Ruth Massley, and she's going to walk everyone through logging into the portal, viewing tickets, running reports, and just make sure that everyone understands what the new user experience is going to be. While she's speaking, I would encourage everyone, if you have some questions, enter them into the portal, because after her presentation, we're going to do our best to go through all of those. But for any of them that we're not able to get through, we'll respond back to folks directly offline. And additionally, for any questions that you'd prefer to ask directly, I would certainly invite you to reach out to me direct at bill.thompson@highwirenetworks.com. What I want to just preface before I turn it over to Ruth, our migration to AutoTask is really the latest in a series of investments that we've made to drive additional value to our partners. And in addition to the benefits that we're going to recognize from this improved ticketing system, you're also going to see much more in the days ahead around our investment in SOAR. And this security orchestration automation response tool is really going to be a game changer in our ability to leverage AI and machine learning and really rapidly accelerate the identification, threat intelligence gathering, and where appropriate, respond through pre-scripted, customized playbooks. It's really all about defense in depth, and the SOAR tool that we're rolling out is really going to connect a lot of these pieces together. But much more to come on that front. For now, let's focus on AutoTask, and I want to introduce everyone to Ruth Massley. She is our Director of Product and System Support for Highwire Networks. With that, take it away, Ruth.
Thanks, Bill. Share my screen here and walk you through a few things. So first of all, the migration is happening this weekend. We plan to be done probably sometime Sunday afternoon. You'll know when it's done because you're going to get an email for portal access that looks something like this. It'll say, welcome to Highwire Networks client portal. Gives you a link to click. It's going to make you create a new password before it'll let you go in and access the name of your tickets, etc. So you do that. I did put the password requirements down here because AutoTask is pretty strict about how you can do a password. So it has to be 8 characters long. You have to use 3 of the following: lowercase, uppercase, numbers, and symbols. You can't use the same one as the last 3 passwords. This doesn't really apply to you now. And it cannot contain any spaces or single quotes. If while you're trying to create your passwords, you forget what these requirements are, there should be a question mark right above the password entry screen, and those requirements will be shown for you again there. All right, so now we're going to jump into what the portal looks like. So this is a test portal. I created myself an account called Ruth Test Account. This is what my portal would look like logging in. I have one end customer account, which I called a subsidiary. So on this screen, I can choose which of the accounts I want to look at the ticket counts for. I can either choose all of them, so I see everybody put together, or I can say, just show me one for this particular end customer, their tickets, or I can choose my own production account. So it looks like that. So for the sake of this, we're just going to look at all of these. We've got a couple of different widgets down here. All of them give you a different view of information. So just kind of walk through it. This is sort of like an overview of everything that's open. And it'll tell you, if you're an account, a contact on here, whether you created it, you can like drill down and to see exactly what tickets those are encompassed by. These are also going to show you the top few that are still open and waiting for either approval, or if it says investigating, it means that the Overwatch team is investigating the issue. This one shows you how many tickets were completed versus created for each month for the last 6 months. And this one just kind of gives you a pie chart. So if you want to see what the different request types are, you can see there's 1 in a service request and there's 3 in other. Usually the other means that it was an Overwatch incident created by Highwire. So the ticket request type is really going to be for when you or one of your other people in your company actually have created a ticket in the portal. It will know whether it's a service request or whether it's a security event. So from there, I'm going to show you what happens. Anytime you click on any number in here, it will take you to a screen that kind of looks like this. But so for here, if I want to see all the tickets, I would click on the 3. And it's not going to let me do it, is it? We'll click on this 3. Give it just a second. And it will pop open this item that says, here's all the tickets that fit within the category of that 3 number that you clicked on. The interesting thing on this, the helpful thing, is there's something called a column chooser that looks like this little 9 blocks of things over here. So this says, here's all the different columns that I could add to this view of my screen. Like I could put in OMS detection name. And let's say I want that to come up before my fidelity score. I can change the order in which the columns are displayed. I can take out columns that don't apply or that I'm not interested in. So you can really customize this the way you want to see your tickets. So feel free to do it. It becomes the default for every time that you go in after that. So you don't have to do it every time. You just do it once and then it goes. So now you'll see that my detection name has been added and it's in front of all the other ones that I put it in. So I moved it up to be in front of everything else. Let's say that I now want to go and say, I really want to look into this ticket, right? I want to see what's going on with it. So I can click on the ticket itself and it will take me into the actual ticket. It's contents. It tells you everything. If there were a lot of notes in here, you would see the history of notes as well. You can add a note here by just saying, here's a new note, and you can hit submit. You can also put an attachment on here just by picking that, finding your file. If you want to put, little notes in there, you can do that as well. So you go ahead and do it like that. Save and close. Nothing to attach, so it doesn't like that. This close button here doesn't really mean close the ticket. At first, some people get a little confused like that. So you just hit that to close the screen, or you can hit the X at the top. All right, so from there, we did the, there's another thing on here, the export button. If you want to have a screen full of tickets that you want to just kind of have a report for, you can just export it from here. You can do it CSV, Excel, or PDF. I don't think that's the right one. Let's see, there we go. So there's your report that you had on the screen, and it just basically puts it in an Excel format so you can do sorts and whatever you'd like to it. Okay, so now that you're in this screen, you might ask, how do I get back to my dashboard? The easiest way is just hit the home button here. It takes you right back where you started from. All right, so the other thing you would probably want to do in here is create a new ticket. So you can just click on new ticket like this. This account that you put this under is very important because this identifies which account the incident or the ticket belongs to. So make sure that if you've got a lot of different end customers that you're supporting, make sure you pick the right one here. We're just going to pick the account test. The request type for here, you're only going to use Overwatch security incident or Overwatch service request. So the difference is an Overwatch service request is things like if you have a new end customer or you have a new person in your company that you want to have access to all of the portal tickets, you would put that in, or a password reset, or if someone's having issues in your company that you want to help them get login ability. That would be all under the service request type. So we're just going to kind of take a look at what these look like. So you would come in, you would put a title. right now, this is my contact information. If you want someone else in your company to actually track the progress of this ticket and get notifications for it, you can just change it to whoever else is a contact on these accounts. Okay, but for now, I'm just going to leave it here. This is the contact's email and phone number. I put a description in here and say, you know, what did I call him? James Joe is a new employee. And then for here, this is your priority. This is based on what you think the priority of this request is. And there's no guidelines around it. It's sort of like when you enter a help desk ticket, you're the one that gets to decide how important and how urgent it is for you. So you can pick whatever you like. This issue sub-issue is useful because you can kind of segregate down for a service request what type of request it is that you're looking for. So in this one, it's actually an account creation. I would select that. If none of the things fit in with what you're looking for, you can always just click other or just leave it blank. It's not a required field. And from there you would save. You'll see the little swirling bar at the top so you know something's happening. There we go. So you can add a quick note here, add an attachment just like we talked about before, and when you're done, you can just hit close. So now you'll see that that number 3 now came to 4 because you have a new ticket in your system and they've got 2 service requests now. So the other tickets you can create also has a lot of, we're just gonna leave it on my home account this time. I'm gonna make this a security incident just so that you can see the difference between a service request or a service incident. Again, you put in a title. I'm going to say there appears to be a virus. I can type on Joe John. These would really be more of what Highwire would enter as far as the detection name and the fidelity score. So you don't have to worry about that or the site name. So you would do that. There should be a type in here. Oh, you got to put your priority in. Say it's high. Where's my issue type? Okay, we're going to save this. And again, you'll see the blue squirrely thing. Let's see. All right, and then once that's in there, you'll see that you're going to go ahead and close this. You'll see that you now have 5 tickets. You've got one that is in the other, and you can click on it again to see why they're red, or I think it's just because there's the 3 different types of tickets that are in here. So these are just the ones that were already in. You can click home. And let's see, quick launch button. There is a quick launch button up here. It's right here. This is a way for you, rather than navigate around your dashboard, if you know you want to do a new ticket, there's multiple ways to do it, right? You can go to My Tickets, Open Ticket, Recently Completed Tickets. All those things are just like quick launch bars to get to where you want to go. And then the last thing here is you can generate reports. So in here, it's pretty powerful report generation. You can click on the fields that you want included. You can say, you know, I want a different request type. I only want Overwatch service deliveries, or maybe I'll do both, right? And I can say, I want to get off that. All right, and then I can put a date in for whatever I want, and I can sort by different things. So if we sort by request type, you'll see the tickets all in the different request types order. So in this particular one, we did it by request type. We've got this one virus on the machine came up. I can export it, or I can print it, or I can just close or change it and do a new one. So that kind of wrap up what my demonstration was going to be. Oh, I do have one more. I forgot my search. If you have a ticket number that you're looking for, like if you know what the ticket number is, you can search for it this way. Or if you know there's a keyword in the title, like test, and search for it, it'll also bring that ticket up, or any of the tickets that match that category. So when you're looking for in the transition period where you are used to using the fresh service incident number instead of the AutoTask ticket number, we're going to have the ticket title include both the incident number from fresh service as well as the new ticket number. That way, if you know what the incident was in fresh service that wasn't closed yet and you want to look for it in AutoTask after this is all done, you could just put that in that keyword search. All right, Bill, that's it for me.
Perfect. Well, thank you very much, Ruth. I appreciate that. That was a good overview. And we've got several questions queued up already. If anybody else has any last minute questions, please feel free to get those plugged into the Q&A now. Why would we wait just a second, Ruth? Let me ask a quick question. From a partner perspective, so is there anything that they need to do right now to be prepared for the upcoming cutover?
No, there's really nothing to do. It's going to be pretty streamlined, and for somewhat, it'll be transparent to them that we've even switched systems, other than they'll be going to a different portal to look for the tickets.
Okay, good. Thank you. So I see a couple questions that are dealing with customers that are using AutoTask. One of them is about integration, and the other is about how will they be receiving information from the ticketing system into their AutoTask system in the current environment. So initially, right, so we're in our phase 1 production environment. We are going to be sending tickets out the same way that they would have been sent out in our previous ticketing system. There would be an email sent out into your system. Ruth, there was a specific question around ticket numbers being entered into the subject line, and if there would be any conflicts between that and a customer's existing AutoTask ticketing system. Can you speak to that piece directly?
Well, I can speak specifically for Highwire's implementation of AutoTask, that as long as you receive an email or notification with a ticket number that your system is used to seeing in the title, it will go ahead and append it to it. So in this case, we're trying to bridge the gap between fresh service and AutoTask and making sure that that incident number that would be in your normal ticketing out of fresh service is also in the title of the ticket.
Perfect. And regarding future integrations between our AutoTask instance and customers' instances, listen, that was one of the driving factors for us going to AutoTask. In addition to the improvements in the overall system, we want to be able to do those integrations just as an extension and to create additional value for our partners. So we plan to do that. That is part of our phase 2. And there's not a specific date to that tied yet. But what I would invite folks to do, if you want to be part of a pilot group for when we do get ready to start rolling things out, I would invite you to go ahead and reach out to me, and we'll make sure that you're part of that initial group. And when we start rolling it out, that you can be in the first wave for that. An additional question is around just if there's going to be any additional information around preferred ticket types and products. And what I will say is, after the call, we are going to be sending out a short form user guide, if you will. That'll provide a lot of additional information so that folks can hopefully plug any gaps that you have. And if there are any additional questions that you have after that, please don't hesitate to reach out to us, and we'll make sure that we get back in touch with you. There's another question, Ruth, around which exact email address will be sending the tickets from AutoTask. Want to address that one real quick?
So the address you'll find on the tickets coming from AutoTask to your system are going to be support@highwirenetworks.com. This email address
the same address as current, correct?
is a little bit different because it's an AutoTask
Oh,
address and not a fresh service address, right? So you'll see it come from support at Highwire Networks. You're going to be able to do the same thing as you did in Fresh Service with, responding to that email, and all the notes get appended just like in Fresh Service. And you can create tickets, like if you lose your password and you can't log in, you need it reset, you can do it the same way you did when you did it in Fresh Service. Is you can either call the numbers that are in your playbook, or you can just create an email that says sock@highwirenetworks.com, and that will create a ticket in the AutoTask system the same as it did in Fresh Service.
okay. And then as far as there's a follow-up question around ticketing numbers and the potential to have a ticket number that matches one of their ticket numbers. Obviously, the probability of that happening is pretty low, and it might actually be impossible. So what I'll do, Sam, I'll reach out to you offline, and we'll make sure that we have just a quick conversation on it. I suspect, since you have AutoTask out in your environment already, that you have incremented into a much higher ticket range than we're starting. So I would expect that it's probably highly, highly unlikely, but we'll make sure that we have a conversation with you to be clear on that on both sides. Can you give some details, Ruth, about the subject line that it's going to be in the ticket?
So the subject line, at least initially for the tickets that existed in Fresh Service, you're going to see the Fresh Service incident number as well as the new AutoTask ticket number. The subject line, you're going to do it exactly the same way we did from Fresh Service, where it'll have the company name that's impacted by it and what the incident number is. So it should be the same as what you're seeing today.
And if anyone has any login problems or any questions that they come into any issues, who should they contact?
I think they should just send an email to sock@highwirenetworks.com, and someone will get back to them as quickly as possible.
Perfect. What about old system access? Will they have access to that system after the cutover? Let me answer that one, Ruth, just real quick. So once we do the migration, the access to the old ticketing system is going to be turned down, but the legacy tickets are going to be migrated into the new system. So any need to reference old closed tickets, there should be no gaps in that. You'll be able to find those within the AutoTask ticketing system. And I'm just scanning through to see if there's any new questions that came in here in the last 90 seconds or so. There is a question on planned cutover. Do you just want to reemphasize when we're doing the work and when people should expect to see the email from Datto?
Sure. So the migration's happening over the weekend. It should be done, midday on Sunday. The way you'll know it's done is when you get that welcome to Datto or Highwire Networks client portal email, and then you'll know that we're done.
And they should expect that when?
Midday, mid-afternoon on Sunday.
Okay. All right, everyone, I'm gonna give it about 30 more seconds to see if anyone has any last minute questions. Otherwise, I'll give everyone 5 minutes back on their calendar. And of course, if you have any questions that come up after the meeting, as was on the chat earlier, please feel free. You can email me at bill.thompson@highwirenetworks.com.